started like big company, and they had very strong players individually from development team, testing team, and BA, but they were not like team together and kind of everybody is there on their own silo. So I said, he asked me about to come up with some presentation. He knows me that I'm a best collaboration guy, whatever it is. So I said, okay, I'll come up with some presentation. I did it for Michelle. After that, I did it for my ex-CEO entire company. Almost like 50, 60 people have attended that session. So I just want to share with our team, make sure that I know most of the areas that we are following it, but I just want to, because a couple of new folks are there like Ramesri and all, and I just want to make sure, reiterate what we are doing it. So, just like a conversation, not like speech though. You can break me whenever you want. So let's say, I just want to hear some definitions of success. There are many, so let's hear something from. So whoever says the right answer, I'll give some gift. Generally people speak out, right?
How about you, Prasad?
Yeah, I know how to
I can give, but
no, I'm saying success.
no, I can give my answer. Definitely, I'm going to give my answer. So.
Y'all know how this works. First one to get it right.
Yeah. So seriously.
Don't let Joe win all the time.
Let's take out some definitions of success, because it is very tough actually. I read in some articles that getting the definition of success is pretty hard. If you get that, it's almost 50% done, you're there. So let me see, what definitions I get.
I want to go first actually. When the term success comes, it is success of the team, not an individual person. I have been coordinating with the offshore team, and whenever I am coordinating with them, it is not just the one person's task that I have to deal with. Even if one is finished, excellent, but still it is a team success that would come out.
Yeah,
everybody working together and understanding and being on the same page.
Okay, so in your terms, what you're saying is that achieving one task is nothing but your definition of success, right? Yeah, team success and all, then we'll talk about it later. Yeah, right.
Success is completing what you set out to do.
Okay, that's good. So, anything else? Sita, go ahead.
Yeah, in my opinion, success is like achieve your goal.
So, anything else? Jenny?
I pretty much know, and it's just right.
Okay, so I have my own definition of success as that, my definition of success is whatever you want to accomplish. If you accomplish, that's it. It's a success factor for me. That's what I said. Is it enough? No, it may not be. Still we have to have more and more, expectations and all. So that's the definition of success, I feel. Okay, let's go with this. Basically, for getting a success, first of all, we need to know what we need to achieve, right? So for that, we need to have a vision. So vision means what? Like we need to see the bigger picture and what we want to achieve in various aspects of life, like IT, at home, and personal, career, whatever it is. So you need to have a vision. Then once you have vision, means like you have a clear idea about what you want to achieve. Then we need to have like goals. Like you need to have break up into small goals. Like one of the examples is SMART goals that we follow here. Then we need to have a charter. Like okay, dreaming about vision is fine, but you need to start acting on the dream. Otherwise, it will be a dream forever, right? It won't come true. So I'll tell you my story here. When I started here, right, Jan 31st, I believe. It was the big, big snowstorms there. Kabi was not there. Nobody was not there in office. Only me, because those were my first days. So I got. Otherwise, I would have worked from home. I don't have my VPN. So I thought, like, okay, how can I make my vision here? So I started interacting. I took like a couple of names from Michelle that who are the key players in this organization from other departments like development, PMO, whatever, BAs and business also. So then I had an idea, I created an idea, okay, let's meet these folks for the first 2 weeks and start getting the feedback of our team, what we are doing so far, and what are the areas of improvement from their perspective. So I made that plan and I interacted with them for a couple of weeks, then I captured all the data. With that data, then I started creating a vision. Okay, we need to steer the direction of QA team into different levels and make sure that they need to understand what we are doing it and we have to market ourselves. So that's how I created my vision here. So then I created, with the help of Kirby, I started creating a roadmap. We have a clear roadmap about what we are going to achieve, long term and short term, in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, after 1 year, and everything. And then we have, charter, steps to achieve them, and like SMART goals and various processes that we have implemented. So, anybody has any questions on this slide?
We're gonna be quiet.
All right, that's good. This is one of the concepts, like nowadays, like even you guys know that I attended Agile conference and all, but yeah, it's not only, particularly there's no need of Agile methodology, like let's call it agility in our way of work. Like every team has to be, integrated with others and collaborated with others to make sure that, the knowledge is shareable among each other. And let's say, for example, development, they can allow us, to explain the internal logic of the code. We can go to their area and do with the TDD, test-driven development, and we can do, unit testing along with them. And one of the examples is exploratory testing. Anybody is responsible for quality, and those kind of concepts. It's like one team. Not only QA within QA, but among IT we are one team. Like when you go with the agility of development kind of thing. So developer, BAs, business, even business too. So I thought of projecting this one. Like nowadays paradigm has been already changed. Teams are getting success. Whoever have more agility. And people should focus, and so far, we've been saying that, okay, what output we are getting it, like how many test cases we executed, how many test cases we have created in a so-and-so time, how many automated scripts we have generated. So right now, the paradigm has been changed from output to outcome. Like, what is the best value that we are getting from the actions that we do? So outcome is slightly different than output. Like, say, for example, I'll use QTB as an example. Even we create like 50 scripts or 100 scripts. How many of them are really usable for a regression set? Let's say out of 100 we use 70. 70 is the outcome. That's what I focus. Even business focus on that. So we have to steer our focus towards outcome rather than output. Both are important though. First we need to set the goals for output. Then we have to see how much we are really using it for the business perspective. And the third bullet point, like executive and middle management are very important for this kind of agility methodology or agility development. Basically, the executive management, the lot of clashes happening in various companies are between executive, middle management, and the main core team. You can say focal teams, because the executive management should know that in their core team, they have a bunch of clever people, sometimes more than clever than executives. So you got to do, this is like bullet point, like for me, Kirby and some other executives. So we have to know that we have to let you go and take your own decision and run, as a team on your own. So that's why we don't intervene into your situations unless there is an issue. But we need to talk to you guys offline of Scrum meetings and all. That's recently we have been asked to come to Scrum meetings, like they said that we're missing the Scrum meetings and all. No, we're not missing this. Of course, we're not physically attending to the Scrum meeting because we decided not to, because we know that our folks are clever enough and they can manage on their own. But this is something that it has to be educated, and it has to go through all the teams and all. So any questions? Come on, guys, speak out.
I have a question, I have a comment.
Yeah.
Regarding like the end scrums and being there, and I think that has more to do with management style and whether they feel comfortable with letting somebody else do things besides having their hands in everything.
Yeah. So it's like it's like both pros and cons are there, right? See, basically, when you are capable of handling on your own, executive should not be in that. But you need to have your one-on-one meetings or your internal team meetings with your executives, and you can discuss with that offline. Okay, do you have any issues with that? Sometimes you may have issues with the development team, with other teams. So then this executive or middle management should go through them and talk to them and make sure the road is smooth. But once in a while, there is no rule that executive management should not come to Scrum meetings though. It's just, we have to know that, we're leading a bunch of clever people than us.
One of the things I was gonna say too is like, what I think gets missed a lot of times is you gotta let the teams kind of work out their own issues,
Yeah.
right? Because you're gonna interact with with the people on your team all the time. You guys are pulling up all the time. You gotta know, okay, if Lloyd comes to me and says this is the issue, they can have value in what Lloyd says without somebody else intervening. Sometimes the management or an executive can be a distraction because they're trying to make sure they check every box, dot every I, cross every T, when that's not the normal way that you guys function and communicate with each other. So it creates a strain on the meeting. So it's just like letting you guys kind of figure it out on your own as opposed to us jumping in the middle. And you're
Yeah.
always trying to, oh, well, my boss is here, so I gotta make sure I do everything right. You know?
Yeah, that's good. Anyone else? This is an important topic, like control improvement. Let's say, for example, we'll go to discuss the first bullet point, like, every team or every company, they implement a lot of processes. They get the feedback from other teams and try to implement a lot of processes. Basically, the significance factor of implementing a process is we need to make sure that is there any business value. There are three concepts or three focal points we need to check. Is there any business value? Let's say, for example, if you change certain process, it will add more value to the business, to the outside end user. That's a priority number one. Priority number two, is there any organizational benefit? Like you can change the reports here and there, and internal reports can be seen in a better way. That's priority number two. Priority number three is no value. When there is no value, we don't want that process. So that's how we need to make sure that it's not just typically implementing the best practices. For example, like if IBM has various other processes, it may not work out for us. Particularly when you're coming from different areas, different companies, it's a great challenge for any organization. Let's say if I come from different SAP area now, if I implement all the processes, it won't work out here. So we need to make sure, as a team together, we'll list out all the processes that we want to tweak or improve or enhance. Then we can see, is there any business value is there, or any organizational value, or no value. Sometimes it burdens our normal daily life. So we have to focus on the how to implement the process and what is the real business outcome of any process. And second one is control on what business needs. So this is like in a Scrum meeting, I think typically you guys do it, right? So business may ask like 10 things or 15 things. So we have to prioritize like based upon dependency of those features with others, or environment, hardware issues, hardware limitations, environment limitations, so many factors. So you got to let them. One or the other way, you cannot say no to the business, but at the same time, you will have to project in such a way that you have to project the facts. This is what the real fact. If you ask me to implement a timeline, scope, budget, environmental limitations, hardware limitations, etc., etc. So we have to let them know exactly what are the facts, not just like emotions. We can't do this within the time and all. Typically, emotions, override us. It's very tough to control emotions, but we got to do it because they are the one who is paying money for us, for the features and all. So and the next point is adopt failing forward methodology. So this is one thing like where we can say that we may not be perfect always. We'll try to be perfect, but retrospective is the best example for Scrum meetings. Right? You speak out there what worked well and what worked not, and what are the issues that were not went well. Then you log them, and somewhere I see that in our company that they log it. They don't have any action points to follow-up actions or anything. So we need to have a clear action points and the owner for the issues, and we need to have a timeline to achieve that. So that's called failing forward methodology. You may fail now, but you don't want to fail for the rest of your future, rest of your life, right? We have to note down those things. So we have to make all these obstacles as barriers of success towards success. So that's very, very important. Up to failing forward methodology. Most of the places, it says, okay, we have these issues, and nobody visits them back.
Isn't the PM group going over these notes that are taken in retrospective?
Yes, PM group is taking the retrospective because they are responsible, but what I would say is, we can be partner with them and we can make sure that whether someone is, they are really doing a follow-up or not, because me and Kirby are following them. I'm following Charlie actually. One time, he did not mention clearly, of course I don't want to use the names, but he did not mention the hiccups that we faced with multiple, because of multiple code pushes, each one is stepping on others. So it was not projected very well. So I asked them literally put it in a simple English that because of multiple code pushes, these issues have happened, and it was mentioned very clearly. Yeah, typically they do that, but yeah, let's say for example within our team, QA team, we can do on our own, right? So it doesn't matter. But one or the other way, we need to have a follow-up action.
I was going to say the other thing is that they're just the owner of the document. The task list could be anybody's task. It may be a development task, a QA task, a PM task, whatever. So the ownership falls on the whole team, but they're the one that has to actually keep the record, quote unquote, of what happened in the retrospective. But you make it a to-do task out of the whole thing for yourself. Like maybe we can do something differently in our testing strategy, or maybe they do something differently on the development strategy or whatever.
So let me tell you one example. The state diagrams, right? Gaurav and Prasad did and Ranjita did that. So basically state diagrams mostly done by business and BAs. So after I attended Agile conference, I saw, okay, let's do implement in our area also, whatever we can, and maybe in a customized way. So we kind of started writing the state diagrams. Then what we did is we showed it to a couple of PMs, Candace and Charlie. They loved it and they started doing it. So that's fine. It's not our responsibility though, but all the great things you can do marketing, and at the end of the day we are one of the benefiters of it. Okay. Anything else? All right, that's good. So bank for buck, right? So basically I was saying that we have to balance like triple constraint. It's like project management terminology. Scope, budget, timeline. Everybody knows it how we work, and we have to balance the business needs, requirements, have to balance the budget, have to balance the timeline, and all this stuff. It's everybody pretty much straightforward, concepts. And next point we'll say quality and quantity. I would say that particularly service team, always they run very fast. Krishna and I always taught them, make sure that you balance quality and quantity. We have to balance and make sure that we gauge the right quality along with your speed and quantity also. So that's one of the we have to balance end of the day, because if when we are running very fast, everybody encourages us and kind of say these guys are running fast, but at the end of the day if we have any production issue and it bombs everywhere, so right, so it makes a lot of noise. So speed is important, aggressiveness is important, but we have to balance more carefully both quality and quantity. And next one is smart ways to optimize the maximum outcome. We can say a couple of examples that smart way of working. We implemented risk-based testing here, right? So everybody knows it. Previously we used to run long marathons and all. Then we implemented risk-based testing methodology. Everybody knows that. Basically it's like doing the correct risk analysis and select the right set of functionalities to be tested for at any point of time. The challenge we faced is that everybody knows that, you guys know that we implemented the process, but the challenge we faced is with the business, development team, selling out this strategy to them, right? So I kind of set up, me and Kirby set up various meetings. I think Melissa also involved in one of the meetings. So we went to business folks and explained them, we don't want to do this long marathon regression. And typically they also don't want that, but they don't know how to kind of mitigate this thing. So we know that concept. So we said that we're going to do the risk-based testing. It optimized, the speedness, and it optimized the quality and output also. So then we did marketing with the business, with Michelle and everybody, James, and even Don also know that risk-based testing. It's not a brand new concept though, but typically some clients are using it, and luckily we have adapted it. And last 8-9 months, we never had any kind of big catastrophic issues in production. We may have one or two, but they are not like showstoppers or anything. So business allowed it. So that's one of the factor I would say proudly that it went very well in our team, from our team. So. And basically recently I started encouraging Bulgaria and TCS folks also to focus in the area because they don't know this. And, when I spent a couple of nights with them, so I asked like a couple of questionnaires. It's kind of surprise for me. Nobody said, "Oh, we don't know what it is." So kind of explained that. We can say a couple of examples. Risk-based testing is one of the way, and another one is exploratory testing. Recently, we started doing it like more and more. Quality is the end of the day. Quality is everybody's responsibility. We can involve more PAs and developers, PMs. Anybody can start and doing the high-level sunny day scenarios at least the moment they get the code. And if they're able to identify any couple of defects, that's fine. Developers can start working it immediately and they can fix it. So the sooner the better. So what else, Kirby? Can you have any examples?
I was going to say like the exploratory testing, like even when you look at smart ways of optimizing the max outcome, even splitting up and divvying the work down, like for example with Shitra and Prathima, those guys work more on the conceptual, here's the functionality, and they pass down the scripted work down to the team that's offshore. That way they have more time to focus on what's the design, what's our actual function supposed to be, let me make sure we got the scope of what the actual logic behind it is, translating the knowledge over to the other teams, all that kind of stuff, because they'll now you have the time to do it. You take the scripted stuff and push it down to those guys that really can't attend the meetings, and you do all the upfront, logically based vision stuff.
Yeah, because for them, they don't have any disturbance of meetings or walkthroughs or hallway meetings or anything. We have that, so we need to optimize in such a way that the real work will be done by them, and you need to handle the collaboration with the development PAs and all the design meetings and all. That's one of the smart ways because you are utilizing your time in the best way. Go ahead, Melissa. You're nodding.
Melissa's shaking her head like,
Yeah.
no.
Because Kirby and I talked about this, and yes, in theory, it's a good idea. I said, but right now, the business and developers and PMs aren't on board with that. If they get code up, they want to jump in and test. They don't want us to wait for.
Yeah, but you got to push
Third
that
shift.
down. It's a balance, but start pushing it down.
I understand, but we can do that all day. But then we're going to be yelled at for not
No,
testing.
you're not. Who's yelling at you?
I'm just saying. That's
Okay,
what,
no,
that's
no,
all it is right now.
You're
Okay,
in
I
this
think,
room, I've never
let's
yelled.
take offline this topic, but anyway, so, okay, your point is valid, but let's optimize that, try to optimize that, because that's what I said, right, let's say this is a process, right?